Hey everybody, it's Kirk here with Space Pickle Designs, and today we are going to play around with some BeeBeeCraft products. Everything that I use in this video will be listed down in the description box below. I did receive these products for free in order to do some tutorials for you guys, so shout out to BeeBeeCraft. Thank you so much. I'm always impressed with the products that I pick out. I don't think I've picked out anything that I'm just like, oh, that was terrible, you know. Most of the time I'm like very pleasantly surprised. And so today I want to play around with our bead-along knotting station and some of these gemstone beads in this mixed gemstone container. If you don't know Colleen is a fellow jewelry beader on YouTube. She definitely inspired me to bring out this knotting station for something other than a ruler, right? And to test a little design theory that I have floating around in my head, and I just gotta see if it works. So before we get started though, I do want to show you this guy. I got this for Christmas from my mom, and you know, she knows that my hands bother me from carpal tunnel, and if you don't know, then about twice a year I do get injections into my wrist in order to help with carpal tunnel. So prevention is a lot of times a key with carpal tunnel. Like, just don't do those repetitive motions that irritate your wrist. But you know, we're a beader, and I'd rather just have a hurting wrist and still be able to bead. So let's see if we can make this work. This is going to be in the size large because I do have very large, very long, slender fingers. Not slender actually at all, but I was trying to make it sound less bad than it was. But I do have very large hands. And so I do have the large. I do appreciate her giving me the large. And we are going to go ahead and put on the right hand, because that's the one, when I do bead work, that's the one that irritates me the most. And so they come like sewn together here. And this will be the left, this will be the right. So let's see how tough it is to get on. All right. And so I'm just gonna tuck this end in under my sweatshirt. And so let's see, let's hopefully not pick up all the lint around my room here. But yeah, this is what it looks like on a larger hand. They're pretty long, but I'll still be able to use my hands. So let's go ahead and get started. So I do have my bead-along tying station over to the right. And the beads that I want to use are probably going to be these small tiger eye. I think I've changed my mind. I was going to use the larger ones, but I think I'm going to use the small ones just because of the strand size that I'm using. So I'm using, I think this is Eslon, and I'm going to use 3 colors. And so they kind of like mimic the colors of that tiger eye. Now I do have quite a few, as you can see, but I did pick these out and I thought they were the best. And so what I want to do is just use all 3 of these colors to kind of enhance our tiger eye. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this brown, because we're going to use that as the core color. We just got to find the little edge to it. You really don't need much. I'm probably going to use like 3 feet, and that's way too much. Way too much. But since this is nylon, I am going to just burn the ends just ever so slightly. And I use because I just want them to keep from fraying a little bit, because we are going to be putting both ends through the beads. So it just helps with that. So before we do that, let me go find some not so yellow gold jump rings, and I'm going to use two of these. These are a 6mm. Those are from Fire Mountain Gems. And what I'm gonna do is feed, I put this in half, I'm gonna feed the loop end through both, bring it down, bring both of my ends through, pull it down like this, and here's gonna be our connection point for a clasp. And so what we can do now is get started on stringing some of our beads. So I'm gonna see if these small ones fit 2 strands. And that'll be the key to see if we can do the small ones. If not, we will have to use the big ones. I think I would prefer to use the small ones. So if we can make it work, and we can. That's awesome. So we're just gonna feed them down. And I don't want to add any metals to this. I just want the design to be with the, essentially the thread colors. And so that one was way easier. So this is our core. Don't have to be like too crazy with it. I am just going to add in a lot of these beads, since this is our only design element when it comes to beads. And I love tiger eye. I think I know that makes me like basic, but even low quality tiger eye looks good to me. Just because the striping, even if it doesn't have like a super huge flash, and I just love it. I love the colors. It's just so warm. And I have to ask you guys, what do you think of this year's color of the year, Mocha Mousse? So yes ma'am, Miss Kim Kardashian has finally got her moment. It's this color that she's been wearing for like 10 years now. It's like this nude tone, like semi cool toned brown mid-tone that looks, let me just tell you, absolutely terrible on my personal skin tone, because as you can see, I have a lot of like pink undertones, and so that like that pinky mid-tone brown just looks absolutely horrendous. But you know what? I looked on the Pantone's website and I saw like they have, it's really cool that what they do, but they have like these like color palettes that they make with that, you know, the color of the year. And so there are some with some pops of color, and maybe I will insert a little screenshot of some of those here, you know, with my gloved hand. And so those don't look too bad, right? Like, you know. And so I think what I want to do is start kind of like a series showing you that, like, hey, there are things that we can do to make these colors work for ourselves if we don't have that like really nice golden brown bronzy delicious skin tone. If you're like one of my other favorite YouTubers says cooked or uncooked chicken, that's kind of like what my skin tone is. And so, you know, I think we should experiment. Are you guys pumped for Mocha Mousse? Or are you like scared of it like me? Like, what's the vibe with that? Because I think we should try to make it work. I mean, she's the color of the year, so you know, we have to make her work. But anyways, let me know down in the comments below what you think about Mocha Mousse. I personally am like super scared. Like, I am throwing holy water on this color as we speak, but I think we should try to make it work. And you know, challenging ourselves like that is like something that we have to do, right? So I am going to not bore you with me stringing this these 6mm tiger eye gemstones on this cording, but I'm going to get about, I would say about 5.5 inches of tiger eye on this strand because my wrist is a 6.5, about 6.25. And yeah, I'll meet you back. So that took a little bit of time just because the holes are pretty tiny on these, but I did end up doing 18 beads, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, 18 beads, and I did them in a multiple of 3 because I want to group them by 3s. And so I'm just going to take off this top part, and these little jump rings don't fit over, so we're going to have to be pretty careful with that. We'll just have to tie it as tight as we can, just not have to pull too hard. And so that's pretty good. And I'll just try to bring you out just a little. I'm going to put the ends of my strands right here. I'll go to the end because we have the strands. I'm going to pull it, I'm going to twist this as tight as possible. So what I'm going to do is kind of pull these down a little bit. I'm going to take probably a little bit more than a wingspan, probably a wingspan and a half. Because, well, I'm going to do 2 wingspans because there's nothing worse than doing your project and you find that you do not have enough. And so I'm just going to put this under here, and I'm going to find the middle. So I've matched my 2 ends, and I'm just going to take my ends and kind of go like that. I'm just doing an overhand knot. And they don't have to be so like exactly perfect, right? We are going to tie off. Or we are probably going to cut off some of this endage. So we have our first strand on. I want to start with this medium brown. I'm going to do the same amount of length. 2 wingspans. We're cutting underneath. I'm going to find my end. We have our ends. And I'm just going to do a little overhand knot. Just bring that down. Alright. And you just want your knot to be below the first one. So I will show you what that looks like real quick. So below the first one, this is so cute already. I can't wait. And then keep our strands to the side. And then we have our mustard yellow, which is one of my favorite colors. I have many. Two wingspans of that. And I have a feeling I'm using way too much thread, but Eslon is pretty affordable, so I'm going underneath. I'm going to find my end. Got my 2 ends. Overhand knot. And I'm just like pulling the ends evenly. All right. And here we go. So I'll zoom you in even further just to kind of show you like how they are stacked. And so this may or may not work out, but we're gonna figure it out. So you don't have to worry if they're super close to the jump ring, because this will be able to slide up and down before we tie it off. So do not worry about that. All right, go ahead and do that, and then I will meet you back. So we have our strands, and then we're gonna bring a bead up. I'm gonna take that gold, and we're gonna do a square knot. So this should be pretty easy for most of you, but if not, you make a 4 shape. So basically that triangle, like old school kind of 4. You take that right side thread over top of the gold thread, underneath the middle brown thread, pull the tail through, and then you pull. All right, look how cute she looks. You don't want it to be too tight, and we're gonna do a little bit of adjustments on this second half of the knot. So then we're gonna make a P. Take that tail over to your left side thread over the thread of the P, under the main thread, through the loop of the P, and then before you tighten this completely, you just make sure that that gold thread, that first stitch, is like as tight as you want it to be. Again, do not make it too tight. All right, so that's super cute, super cute. And so once you're happy with that, you move on. And what I'm gonna do here is take the honey thread, so that's that medium color. We're gonna go over the gold. We're always gonna go over. And we're gonna repeat the same process. So we made a 4 with the honey. Okay, take your right thread over the honey thread that crossed over, underneath the brown in the middle, and then through the loop of the 4, and then you pull, and again, don't do it too tight. Just gonna go over, right? Now we make a P, and you take the left thread over the thread of the P, underneath the dark brown middle thread, through the loop of the P, if I can grab it right here. And then that finishes your square knot, but you want to make sure this first loop was tight enough before you tighten the second one, because then that makes the square knot. All right. So we're going to take both these, tighten them. We're going to take the dark thread over top both of them. I'm going to do a 4 shape again. This right thread, I'm going to go over that thread that we just did, underneath the brown main thread that's going through the middle. Pull the tail through. Here's the first little loop of our square knot. Now what do? A P. You take your left thread over that thread, and then underneath our main thread that's tied to the bead station, through the loop of the P, and then before you fully tighten the second knot, you want to make sure that your first knot was as tight as you wanted it to be. All right. So here's our first little component. I think it looks pretty cute. So with that being said, like, we're probably not going to use all these beads, but I just put them on there just in case. We can always adjust that at the end. And so what I want to do to get myself started, to get another bead on the line, we want to take our honey we want to do a square knot. So the 4, actually let's take our honey over top because we're always going to go over top. So we take honey over top dark brown. We'll make sure that this honey is going over top dark brown as well. These are the little details that kind of matter. So just make sure your honey is going over top dark brown. We're going to make a 4. So 4 like down. 4. You take our other honey on the right side, go over top that strand. It's over top here. Take it and then pull it underneath the main thread and then through the loop of the 4. We want to do a knot. Now we can pull that one kind of like as tight as we want because there's no bead around it, right? So now we make that P, right? You take your other honey thread on the left side, go over that thread that we just put over here, and then underneath that main thread, through the P, through the loop of the P, pull the tail through, and now we have that knot. Now we're going to take gold. So gold, we want to do over top like we did the others. Right? And just being consistent with this is going to help like make it look really good. So we have gold over to those 2 colors. Just get them sorted. Gold's over top. We're going to make the 4. Take the right side gold over top the gold. Straight down. Underneath the brown main thread through the loop of the 4. And then we go P, right? Take our gold on the left side, cross over top, and then underneath our brown main thread, to make that square knot. Now this is going to make our design flat, okay? And so you just tighten up these knots, and now you're ready to start with another bead. So if you get this gap that's kind of happening, do not worry about it. It slides up and down, right? And so like, do not worry about that. We're going to push another bead up from the center point. And who are we going to call? Ghostbusters. Just kidding. We're going to call gold, because I always want gold to surround our beads. And so gold is first. We don't have to go over any thread because it is already first in line. So we do our first knot with the 4, our second knot with the P, and again, this is a little different from just doing it on the strand. You want to make sure that your first knot is tight, not too tight to where it like bunches up your tiger eye, but tight enough to where there's no slack, and then you finish your square knot. Now, what's next? Well, we want honey to be that middle color. So we're going to take our honey color and go over the gold. All right, so we're always going over our threads when it comes to layering. And so we're going to start with 4 over honey, underneath brown, pull the tail through, pull it tight, not too tight, but tight enough. Now we make our P over the honey, under the brown. And then before we tighten up completely, we make sure that first knot that we made is looking like we want it to. So I'm thinking that's pretty good. then we tighten our honey. Now we can tighten both at this point. Bring those down. We take our dark brown over both of our threads. Now we're ready to start dark brown. We do 4. Over the brown, under the main thread dark brown, through the loop of the 4, pull it tight enough. Right. Now we do our P. Tighten up that first loop. Tighten up the second one. All right, look at that. All right, so what do we do next? So we want to take honey, and that goes over top of dark brown. Dark brown and gold are off to the side. Honey is going over top of dark brown, so honey and dark brown, or gold and dark brown, are off to the side. Now we want to do a square knot. And you'll be able to get really good at this to where you don't have to be like, oh, 4 P, 4 P, 4 P, whatever, right? It's just a really simple little movement with the hands. All right, now it's gold's turn. Gold is over top of both. We move honey and dark brown out of the way. I always start with 4. It just keeps my mind straight, my crazy brain. Now I do P. All right, so now we are ready to put another bead up. All right, so I'm gonna get to about, like, I would say 3/4 of an inch away from the length that I want with these beads, and I'll meet you back. So I'm super excited about this colorway. It looks so pretty. I love it so much. All right, go forth, be awesome, do great things, and I will meet you back. All right, so I'm down at the end, and I did want to show you that this is how I ended. So I ended with gold, honey, and dark brown right at the end. And I only used 10 beads, so I still have 8 left over, which is totally fine. And so I kind of want to show you what I'm going to do. So I'm loosening the back end. I'm going to take these last few beads off, put them in a bead tray, and then before I untie, I'm going to put 2 more jump rings on the middle thread here. On this middle thread. All right. So with this, turn it around. Keep our strings off to the side. We are going to deal with those a little bit later. So I take the jump rings. Just gonna make a knot. I think I could actually do square knot on the back end. That's funny. We can do a square knot on the back end with the 2. Well, I'm going to do half of a square knot, and then I'm just going to tie, because we are going to melt this down right here. We want to make sure that our jump rings lay flat. All right. So what we're going to do now is a bunch of cutting and melting. So I am going to do one thread at a time. I'll zoom you in. So one thread at a time. I'm gonna leave like a 1/16 of an inch. See, there's a little tail. Then I tap with the lighter. Okay, let's do a second dark brown. And have that 1/16 of an inch. And then here we go. Tap it down. Now, honey. Tap it down. And then gold. And then tap it down. All right, now repeat that process for the other side. So I finished off my ends, and I went to about a 6 1/4, and I just wanted it to be a little loose for me. And I think what we're gonna do is end up just using one more jump ring on each side. And you really could use, so I'm going over those two, adding my lobster, and then I'm going to tighten that up. And then on the other end, another jump ring. And I could use a extender chain, but I could use an extender chain, but I don't, I might not. I might just use, let's see how hard it is to get on my wrist. I took my brace off, and to get that on my wrist, it's gonna need a couple more jump rings for me, just to make it easier to hold on to. And I'll do 3 for that odd number's sake. And then you know what I might do? Let's see if I have any gold head pins. I have this ball head pin. And then I'll take one of the extra beads that I had. Just flip that into my lap. Add that to the end, just a little final embellishment. And I'm gonna put this on and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so here's our bracelet. Look at her. She looks pretty cute. That's as tight as I could get it doing it myself. It would fit probably that next couple rings over, but you can make a longer extender chain if you want, but this is what it looks like on me right now. And I think she looks really, really cute. What do you think? Do you like the like alternating cord colors on there, or is it just like distracting? Does it take away from the tiger eye? Should I have used like a solid bead? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And before we end the video, I do want to insert this clip here. All right, everybody, so I'm about to pick a winner for the giveaway with the Zeron pliers and the Soft Flex design kit and all that glitters. So let's see what we got. We have 26 comments, and let's pick a winner. Congratulations, Debbie Elliott 2589. All right, so I will be, I've already, probably by the time that this video has gone live, I have already replied to your comment. And so, yeah, I'll be asking you to send me an email to spacepickledesigns@gmail.com, and we will coordinate how to get your package sent out to you. So thank you so much for your comment, and I'm so excited to send this package to you. All right, so congratulations to the winner of the giveaway. Please look out for my reply to your comment, and I hope to send out this goodie bag soon to you. And thanks again to everybody who entered the giveaway, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. It means a whole lot to me. This has been an amazing journey, and I thank you so much. Anyways, I hope you're staying safe and well, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.